So, Case, I think to start off a proper review of a muscle truck is to do a little bit of a burnout. Can I do a little one?
All right. I mean, yeah, let's see how she does.
All right. I got the brake mashed. Some gas. Oh, yeah, I got a little bit of smoke back there.
I'll tell you what, so this truck actually has a pretty decent acceleration, and it sounds great.
The second generation Dodge Dakota RT is one of those cool sports trucks from the 90s that was kind of forgotten and lost to time. And in fact, the values on them just really aren't all of that expensive. Even though these are pretty darn hard to come by nowadays, you'd be surprised at just how cheap we picked this guy up. But we do have a little question for you when it comes to this truck in particular. As you can see, it's been, well, messed with. And should we make this our next project truck?
With the all-new Dodge Dakota, we offer a choice. A torquey Magnum 4 that is not the typical wimpy whiner, a serious high-output Magnum V6, and a real live Magnum V8. The only V8 in its class. 468. Now who do you appreciate? The new Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises.
These second-gen Dakotas went from 1997 to 2004, and this particular truck is special because it's got the 5.9 Magnum V8 with 250 horsepower, granted not a ton, but 345 pound-feet of torque, and a 4-speed automatic.
Now, the 5.9 liter Magnum V8 started off in the full-size Ram as well as the full-size Ram van, but then they started to make some performance vehicles with it in there, including the Durango RT, which had the 5.9, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee 5.9 Limited had this exact same motor. But this Dakota RT was the lightest application that they put it in, so think about it, probably the most fun.
Dakota RTs like this one got you the 5.9 Magnum, but they only came in two-wheel drive. However, a couple things that you did get with this truck were a limited slip rear differential, it was lowered about an inch, and you got stiffer sway bars.
Now, the second gen Dakota RT was not really the first sport truck. I mean, you could think back to, they had the Ranger GT. There was, of course, the GMC Cyclone, which I'm sure many of you will remember. But this was actually even the second version of Dodge's small sport truck, because this was the spiritual successor to the Shelby Dakota.
Now, as I'm sure you've all noticed by now, this is not exactly a stock example of a Dakota RT. There are quite a few modifications made to this, including a very prominent set of exhaust pipes. You've got a roll pan, you've got these questionable taillight covers, and a hard tonneau cover painted to match with a pretty prominent spoiler on the back. Around the side of this Dakota, you have an almost paint-matched mustard yellow wheel, and behind that wheel, if you notice, there is a fake disc brake that is also painted yellow. Up front, you have these additional light covers over the headlights, not really helpful for visibility. You've got a big set of bug shields above the grille. In case you forgot this is a Dakota RT, there's a huge sticker to remind you. And finally, and probably fairly period correct, I'd say, you've got these huge rain guards.
The thing is you had a lot of options when it came to mid-sized trucks back in this time period, but none of them came with a V8. Can you think of another mid-sized truck, even honestly ever, that came with a V8 other than the Dodge Dakota?
That's a good question. I'm definitely not an expert.
Well, there aren't any. I looked. There aren't any. I mean, yeah, you can think back to the GMC Cyclone. V6, obviously forced induction. You can think back to the Chevy S10 Extreme, also V6, or I think in some cases those might have even been 4 cylinders. I mean, every single small sports truck that you can imagine didn't have a V8 except for this guy.
I'll tell you what else is really cool about this truck is that back in the day when it was brand new, it was about 20 grand.
Yeah.
And in today's money, that still equates to only about $35,000. Imagine if today, I know sports trucks are a little out of vogue, but imagine if today you could get a V8 rear-wheel drive, limited slip diff, single cab, long bed, mid-size truck. For some people that are still into a sport truck, I think that would be such a cool offering to be able to buy, and there's nothing like that today.
Well, yeah, I mean, not everybody is living out in snow country like we are, or out in the mountains like we are, where having something with a 4x4 or four-wheel drive is really going to help. When you're at sea level in Florida, in Arizona, in California, a two-wheel drive rear-wheel truck is just a cool thing to have.
Well, especially if you want to move around stuff like motorcycles, if you got rid of that tonneau cover, this would be a perfect truck for that because it's low to the ground, which makes loading bikes easy. So yeah, depending on what your use case is, a truck like this could be really cool.
Now, the J.C. Whitney catalog shopping spree continues on the interior, starting with these, frankly, awful seats. I mean, these are some pretty darn bolstered seats that I would much rather have the actual seats that came in this from the factory. But I guess at least it matches the paint scheme. And then, of course, they put on these, like, sticker yellowish, carbon fiber-ish look with an aftermarket radio. But I will say, I do generally like the interior of these second-gen Dakotas. They're very simple, they're very intuitive and easy to use with big, chunky switches and knobs. And I mean, I probably would like the gauge cluster if it didn't have flames. The steering wheel is pretty nice and has some like leather wrapping on it that has held up pretty well over the years. And then you do have your cruise control buttons on either side of the airbag.
Now this is what I want to know. I want to throw out to our viewers, because ultimately it's really up to you guys. Should we keep this truck, maybe get rid of this 3M dash kit, get rid of the light covers, the bug shields, rain guards, some of the cheesier modifications, maybe even respray the wheels, definitely get rid of the seats, and make this still a mullet truck, still a truck that likes to party, but maybe take off some of the less desirable modifications and see if we can make this truck something that's cool even today.
Well, and here's the thing. This truck is only showing 88,000 miles on the clock. And so it's a pretty low mileage example. And for everything I can tell, it actually runs and drives fantastic. I mean,
the bones are great.
Yeah, the handling on this thing is super tight. It feels like a proper sports truck. It's muscly sounding. It's properly cool.
Somebody loved this truck. Somebody put a lot of effort and a lot of money into this truck. And the body is in great condition. The interior is in great condition. It is low mileage. So there's great bones here. No, who knows? Maybe we could make this into something cool. If enough people watch this video, care about this truck, and want to see it again, with us maybe pulling a couple things off of it, then we might have our next project vehicle.
Well, and I know the one thing that everybody's going to be wondering, and if you stuck around till the end of the video, you are getting the treat by us telling you exactly how much we paid for it. Now,
what a treat.
The winning bid on this, because it was bought at a dealer auction, was about $8,000 with auction fees. We're into this maybe around $8,500. But I genuinely believe that if you kind of like unmess with this truck and turn it back to as close to stock as you possibly can, this could easily be a $9,000, $10,000 truck.
Yeah, because like you said, these things are hard to find, and there's some pretty cool bones here. So let us know in the comments below, should we start taking this truck and making it a little bit more like a factory vehicle? Not all the way, obviously. We're not going to respray the truck. But if that's something that you want to see, you got to let us know about it so I can convince Tommy to do it. And that's all for this video.
All right, take care, guys.